Hi, this video is the first in a series of 3 videos covering the use of STP Creator by non-MYOB users. In this video, we will cover how to set up your dataset file. In video 2, we'll cover how to lodge your first STP report. In the third video, we'll cover how to use STP Creator for your second and subsequent STP reports. As you can see here, I've already opened STP Creator and it's registered. We have a trial registration. The first thing to do is to click on Permanent Dataset to create a dataset file to use. So let's click on this. On this screen, we've got to click Create New Dataset. So we're going to tick Not Using MYOB. If not using MYOB, please enter payroll year as a 4-digit number. So we're going to put here 2019. Leave this as is. We're going to enter a full name. The password must have at least 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, 1 number, and 8 characters minimum. And it's useful to enter a hint, or you have to enter a hint, because this password cannot be recovered. As you can see on this screen, there's a number of buttons that have been disabled. Those buttons are specific for MYOB users. We won't be using those. First thing to do on this screen is to add our payer details. To do that, we click the payer, enter the details here, ABN. For branch, unless you have a specific branch, use 001. That's a default for everybody. And you need to enter here the code that you were provided by Namich. Once that's all entered, click Update. That's it, the payer details are now entered and they'll be saved in this dataset file, and so we won't need to re-enter that information again. The next thing to do is to select the STP fields that we'll be using. So click on this STP fields button. This brings up a total of 92 available fields. These are fields the ATO has provided. 21 have already been selected. They're essentially compulsory ones that you'll use all the time, such as the pay period start, pay period end, employee gross, employee tax, super guarantee amount. Those 3 are the minimum fields that you'll report for most employees. And you can scroll down and see if any of the other fields are relevant to what you pay your workers. For example, if you had working holiday makers, you'd have to select those 2. I'm going to scroll down. In our case, the only additional fields we need are car allowance and meal allowance. And so as you see, there's 23 now selected, and I'm going to click Close. If you've got other fields, obviously you select those fields. If you deduct union fees from your employees or workplace giving or other allowances, but in our case we're just going to stick to these 2. The next thing to do is to set up our payees, our employees. So click this button. When you first open this screen, it will be empty, there's no payees. And what we need to do is we need to add payees. So you can either click Add and individually enter each one, or there's an import and export feature. The best way to do things is add one manually, export, update the spreadsheet based on that export, and then import the rest of the payees in that way. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to click on Add. So that's what we're going to do. I'll click on Add. On this screen you can see all the fields we need to fill out. We can ignore this bottom section, we just need to fill out the top. So I'm just going to pause the video, fill out the screen, and be back shortly. Now as you can see, I've completed the screen. I'll just go through some of the points here. Pay ID, that was pre-filled with a 1. It has to be a unique number for each payee. We recommend just use the default, whatever is in that box, don't change it. Here you can put in an optional payer ID if you've got an ID in your system for this payroll person, you can add that. That's optional, doesn't go to the ATO. TFN surname, I'll just fix that up there. First name, date of birth, commencement date, included in STP, yes. Active, yes. This is only for sorting purposes later. If, for example, later on this person stops working, you can make them inactive. Address, telephone number, email, and there's a spot here for my notes, so any notes you want to keep for yourself or for other users, and that's just a spare field which you can leave blank. Once you've entered all that information, you click add, and this person is now added to our payee table. Once we've added our one employee or payee, click the export button. That's going to save a file called payee export. You can change it if you like, and I'm just paying attention to where I'm saving it with all my STP data. Save. And now we can switch over to Excel and open that export file. Okay, so I'm just going to bring Excel across from another screen. Our file open. Need to change this file type to tab delimited or text files. That's our export file. Click open, and with this we click next, tab, next, and finish. Okay, now what we can see here is, just widen some of these gaps. So what you've got is essentially the name of each field up the top here, some hints in this second row. For example, in this column A, we need to have a unique number. It starts with a 1, TFN, date of birth, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, populate this field with our employee data, and then save it and import it back in Tick. Now, as you can see, I've completed entering our employee details. We've got 5. I've used numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Scroll across here, you've got the date of birth, address line 2, suburb, postcode, email, phone number. If you don't have email, phone number, just leave those fields blank. Day commenced. We've also got one employee who has ceased with us during the year and worked in July. Didn't work after that. We need to include that person as well. What I'm going to do now is save this as a tab delimited file and then import. Just change this to import. It already is showing as tab delimited, so click save. Pop-up may contain features that are not compatible with tab delimited. Do you want to keep the workbook in this format? Click yes. Okay, once we've saved it, we can just close Excel, move it off screen, and back on STP Creator we click import, and we get a message here saying importing will replace, not add to the payees currently in the table. Existing payees will be first deleted. So this first Mary Jones will be deleted. That's fine because we've included her in the import file. So do you want to proceed? Yes. Select our import file. Imported data for 5. If this is greater than the number you intended, you may have imported blank lines, which you'll need to delete. Well, we didn't. You should now click check all STP employees to perform required edit checks. That's talking about this button here. So just click OK, and as you can see, that's the details of our 5 employees as per the spreadsheet. Okay, now what we need to do, as mentioned in that pop-up, is click this check all payees for any errors. Okay, we've got a note saying errors were detected. Sort the table by the checked column. If you've got a lot of them, you sort them, it'll put them all the ones with errors at the top. One at a time, click edit. Once payee screen is open, click update to highlight any errors. So what we do is select this one, number 4, Sue Smith, that had an error, edit, and click update and close just to highlight what the error is. And what's happened here is I've entered a typo. That should be a 5 on the end here. It's detected there's an invalid TFN, and so we've corrected it, and now that's it. So what we've got is we've got 5 employees in STP, and 5 checked, and what we can do now is click Save. That brings us back to the permanent dataset screen, and we've now finished setting up our dataset file, and we need to save this file so we can reopen it later. All the data we've entered here will be in the file. We don't need to re-enter any of this again. So I'm just click Save As, give it a name. Default is dataset. I'm just going to call it other dataset, and we're back on the main screen now. We've completed the setup and we're ready to start assembling year-to-date data. We'll cover that in the next video.